Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started again. Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for kind of joining me today. Of course, this is somewhat of a modified new normal, and thank you everybody for practicing social distancing and getting used to some new technologies that we're going to be using. I really wanted everybody to have an opportunity to see different technologies like this because, of course, for our upcoming city council meetings, we're going to be trying to be using these type of technologies as well, whether it be Zoom or Skype for Business or Teams or one of those. There's going to be a number of different things that we're going to be trying to utilize to hopefully make it easier for everybody to participate. And yes, I am going to be recording this, so just letting you know, just so that we can share this out with others, so they have an opportunity just to kind of get up to date on what's going on. Like I mentioned earlier, the goal too is if you have questions, please don't hesitate to put it in the Zoom group chat as we're going along, just so you can go ahead and hear, if there's any questions you want me to answer as I'm going along, please don't hesitate to put that in the group chat. And I have a number of slides I'm going to be going through just to help share, to bring everybody kind of up to date on where we are as of Friday. So so as we get started, the goal too is to kind of keep everybody. We'll try to keep everybody muted just so that everybody can hear. And if you do have a question or for some reason you're having an issue with your audio, don't hesitate to maybe put it in the group chat. We'll see if we can't get you unmuted so you can ask your question. So we've basically got roughly about 2 hours slotted for this. And so I'm here. Hopefully we can get some questions answered and go from there. So let's go ahead and get started. So of course, housekeeping, we talked about, just if you can, mute. I love throwing this out there. Some people, if they call in from like their businesses or other places, you put them on hold, we get to hear their hold music. So some of you that are familiar with conference calls or have probably dealt with those things before. So let's go ahead and kind of jump into what's going on right now, current state. So on March 19th, on Thursday, we did a conference call meeting. Some of you probably had a chance to see that. And it was kind of the first ever, teleconference city council meeting. But we did have a chance to ratify the emergency declaration in the city of Concord. And we passed three items that night. So one of them was ratifying the emergency declaration in the city of Concord. The second one, we also passed an emergency ordinance to halt all evictions and rent increases for renters, both residential and commercial, and for any kind of homeowners as well. So it's residential, commercial, and homeowners. This covers everybody across the board. Also slow any kind of foreclosures or protect against any utility shutoffs for citizens that are affected by COVID-19. Now, of course, most of the things as it relates to utilities, most utilities, of course, have agreed to this anyways. But we wanted to just kind of make sure that we took were preemptive in getting this out there as soon as possible. Just because, especially, not just the individual renters or people, the residential folks, but the commercial folks. That's a big one. We already know that we've had a number of people already start to close their doors. And so, of course, in order to be able to kind of deal with that tide of when things do recover and we do get back going, we need to at least have businesses still in place in order to hopefully have some kind of recovery instead of starting from scratch. So that's something that I know that not just the Chamber and Visit Concord, a number of our other business partners, the City of Concord's Economic Development Department, are going to be working diligently on to try to kind of help bring everything back together. The final piece that we also did, we also appropriated $200,000 to support our seniors with food, for different food programs that we're establishing, and I'll talk about them a little bit more later, and also individuals without shelter whom are at high risk. So our homeless population, we have gone ahead and committed additional resources to be able to help them do that as well. So of course, the shelter in place order is now officially in place. Now it's statewide at this moment in time. And of course, the big piece is until further notice. Most of it was until April 7th, but that definitely has changed until further notice. So we're doing our best to kind of comply and trying to figure out what that means and deal with the new normal at this moment in time. Other actions, I'm not necessarily going to read every single one of them. I'll leave these on the screen for a moment. But a number of actions that we've taken is just the fact that you've probably seen all the indoor and outdoor activities throughout the city of Concord have been canceled. Any preschool programs, any type of activities happening citywide that are city-supported services as it relates to park and rec and outdoor have been canceled. The one thing that has come up and we're still trying to understand a little bit better is as it relates to farmers markets at Todos Santos. That is something that the health department, of course, initially went ahead and said we're closing all of the farmers markets at this point in time. But there's still a question mark around what that may mean if we are going to open it back up or not. So more to come on that. I just kind of wanted to put that out there because we've definitely gotten a few questions related to that. Other things that do come up, and I'm sure some of you have seen this, but it's just good to kind of remind essential services that will remain open. This came, of course, from the governor's orders from the governor's website. Gas stations, pharmacies, food banks, central, state, and local government functions will remain open. But here's just a reminder of what is closed. Dine-in restaurants, bars, nightclubs, entertainment, gym, public events and gatherings, conventions, and hair and nail salons. So unfortunately, nobody's getting a haircut at this point or getting your nails done. Now, we'll talk more about restaurants and some things and some programs that the chamber has going right now that we want to make sure you're aware of. So some things too, special shopping hours, of course. Some of you have seen these graphics. They've gotten updated. We're trying to update them as they come in for definitely our seniors specifically, or at risk as well, because there's definitely been some questions about at risk, and I may not necessarily qualify for quote unquote senior. Of course, technically according to the order from the governor, it is 60 and over at this point. And so the true definition of senior, I hate to say it, is not necessarily as well defined. And so in some cases, that's something that there's a little interpretation there. But I do want to just let you know, so we've got Safeway that has special hours, Whole Foods, Lucky's, and Food Max specifically. Trader Joe's is basically doing it to where you pre-order and they'll go ahead and just basically bring it out to your car so you don't have to come in the store. The other ones that don't have anything at this moment is Grocery Outlet, Costco, and Sam's Club. But again, the most recent add to this was Food Max. So in an effort to make sure that we continue to support our restaurants, in a partnership with, of course, Visit Concord and the Concord Chamber of Commerce and the City of Concord, our Concord Economic Development Department, and myself, we went ahead and we put together this Concord Eats program, really trying to support our Concord restaurants, trying to get it out there that while you can't go into a restaurant, please take an opportunity. They're trying to do their best to kind of keep the lights on. And so this is something that we're trying to push out. If you go to either the City of Concord website, Visit Concord, or the Chamber of Commerce, the website that actually is hosting all of the active lists of restaurants that are open right now is Visit Concord. And so that list will be opened up that will be updated every day as restaurants report back to the Chamber of Visit Concord, specifically what's going on in terms of them being able to do delivery. So if you are trying to figure out who is open and who is not, the Visit Concord restaurant list is going to be the most up to date as everyone's been trying to check on that. So, all right. Some other things. The City of Concord itself has established a COVID-19 business resource page as well. We've gone through it. We're trying to make sure that businesses and just also individuals, if you're an individual trying to figure out maybe what's going on with your company specifically, we've tried to be able to put some information in there too. So it has a number of different resources as it relates to businesses. But this is a good landing site. Again, City of Concord website, Chamber, all have this information available to be able to kind of bring everybody up to speed. There's been a number of emails that have gone around about that, including things like what's going on with if you have been furloughed or laid off. The state, of course, has waived anything in terms of waiting time for being able to apply for unemployment benefits. So that is something that you can go ahead and apply for immediately. All right, other things to make you aware of, the Concord Connect mobile app. There are a number of features on the Concord Connect mobile app at this point in time. One of them, of course, that a lot of people have been asking for if you actually click on police department, one of them actually does say shelter in place. If you want, if for some reason there is someone or a business that is open that should not be, that is just absolutely egregious, and we know there's an issue with it, we did make that available to where you can report a shelter in place violation, just to kind of keep everybody up on what's going on. And so that's something that does exist. But in general, the Concord Connect app, there's also a number of other resources and things that you can tie into here if you so desire. So something that we're officially rolling out today, and you're going to start seeing a number of emails from me and the city, a program that I put together along with the help of a number of other partners and the Vice Mayor Dominic Aliano. We put together a senior food program in Helping Hands specifically. And what we've put together here is we're trying to make sure that everybody is matched up with the resources they need during this time. So very specifically, trying to make sure that those seniors that are going to have some food insecurities, or in general, people with food insecurities, we have a website that's available. It's called Neighbor Express. We went ahead and developed this website over the last 2 days. And the website basically takes you in, and you're able to do a number of different things. And so the first part of this program in our kind of Concord Cares program is our senior food program. So of course, this is funded by the City of Concord. It is in partnership with Meals on Wheels, and the food is actually being prepared by the Mount Diablo Unified School District Food Services Kitchen. It is open to homebound residents, Concord residents specifically at this time, who are 60 and over and unable to access food. The program is free, and we will be delivering a hot meal every day starting Monday, March 23rd, and run until April 7th. So the program is funded through April 7th. Now, if it needs to be continued, we're definitely going to explore that and talk further about the possibility of doing so. The program itself is going to deliver a ready-to-heat meal that will be delivered Monday through Thursday, and then on Thursday, that individual will get also a meal for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it's very similar to a Meals on Wheels program. Meals on Wheels is partnering with us. They're going to help us kind of be that air traffic control to make sure that the resources are getting out to people like they should be. The nice part about this program is for you who have partnerships in other cities. I am in the process of trying to pull in the cities of Pleasant Hill, Walnut Creek, Pittsburgh, and we're actually building this platform to be able to regionally help scale this to help bring more people on board. And we're actually including, I've been working with the mayor in the city of Fremont. We're probably going to roll it out to the city of Fremont as well. So there's a lot of things happening, especially in collaboration among a number of different mayors across the different cities. So the other program that this is going to help is called Helping Hands. And so this is also same situation through Meals on Wheels. They're going to help us pair up people that need help. So these are folks that, of course, maybe are homebound at this point in time and need a few items from maybe the grocery store, the hardware store. They need to pick up some pet food. And so we're going to make it to where there's the smaller trips for people to be able to do. And again, same time frame, Monday, March 23rd is when we're going to launch it, and it's going to go through April 7th. And then again, extended if it needs to be. If you go on the website, it does give you some additional information about kind of parameters and what that looks like. The goal, though, in all of this is that no contact delivery. We're going to be taking the different safety precautions necessary to make sure that people are still able to help those that are homebound at this point in time. And I'll go ahead. Let me see really quickly. I got a few questions that came in. Let's see here. Those have underlying illnesses too in the special hours. Okay, so that is something that I'm not sure on that. How are we supporting the safety and well-being of workers who are serving the essential needs to everyone? That part I am not sure in that regards at this point in time, only because that's not under my control. How can we help? Are there volunteer opportunities that we could elevate? Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to use that as a jumping off point to the next part, which is a part of this program is specifically volunteering as well. And so in this program, this portal that we have established, does at least give you a link to be able to sign up to help volunteer, whether you want to be a volunteer for the senior food program or you want to be a part of the Helping Hands program. Those are both programs you can sign up to be a part of. Again, there's some different things on the website that just kind of gives you what to expect. But the other thing too, though, is if you do need to contact me directly, I'll give you my contact information at the very end. If you have a resource or service or whatever that looks like, and we're just not quite sure how to connect, let me know. I'd love to make sure that we do connect everyone in the best manner possible. So let's see, we had a few other questions just in case if it applies to this. How do renters management get notified about the non-increase? That notice will go out next week. The city council has to ratify it. We're gonna have a special meeting on Wednesday specifically. And then after that point, that will go out next week. It would be a good idea to link up with Nextdoor. They are capturing who is in neighborhoods. Yes, that is correct. So again, we're going to do a full press release on this so that everybody knows what's going on. And even when you volunteer, you can put in there like maybe what neighborhood you're in. Same on the people that aren't on the intake side as well. If you do know someone that does need help getting into this, if you're able to help that individual, what we're trying to do is push everybody into the portal to sign up specifically so that Meals on Wheels can very easily intake that person and be able to get them services as soon as possible. There is a phone number available. However, I would ask that if you cannot use the phone number, that would be better, only because we do have it staffed. We have 2 people staffing it at this time, but you may not be able to get someone to pick it up as quickly as being able to just go in and fill out that information online. So that will be something that will happen much, much quicker if you can do it that way. So we ask that you go ahead and do it. Are the delivery food in plastic trays or frozen? So that's why we're specifically working with the Mount Diablo Kitchen for the program. They actually do have the ability to properly package the food. It will not come frozen, it will come cold to be able to put in a refrigerator so that it can be reheated very easily. If we know a neighbor that needs a service, how do we get them involved? So like I said, please, if you can even help sign up your neighbor for the program, go ahead and go into the website for them. And if you can help sign them up, that would be really, really helpful to help us make sure that we've got people coming in. For people that are just calling in, you want to call out the web address and phone just thought. So again, here's the web address, but realistically, we're going to do a big press release. So don't necessarily worry about trying to capture all this information at this point in time. I'm just letting you know, and you're going to see a larger press release that goes out today. I just wanted to make sure. Homeless Families House, how can we accelerate this? What can residents do to assist? So we're going to ratify everything. Just so you know, though, we've already started a house. So even though we appropriated the funds, we've already been preemptive. We've already been housing families at this point in time and getting things going. So we haven't been sitting back on that one. Okay, so again, more to come. I do want to go ahead and just make sure everyone is aware of the emergency food resources that are available. Again, I'll make these slides available I'll make these slides available as well. But the Emergency Monument Crisis Center is located at 1990 Market Street. So they're going to have emergency food distribution. It's going to happen Monday, March 23rd from 9 to noon, Tuesday, March 24th from 9 to noon. More dates will be available. And they are talking about modifying their schedule during this time frame. And then the other thing that's happening is the Park Haven Community Church, located at 1187 Meadow Lane in Concord, is also going to be doing every Tuesday from 4 to 6. They're going to be doing food distribution, and then there is discussions that they will actually do another day as well. So it may be Tuesday or Wednesday, Tuesday or Thursday. We're still trying to get that ironed out at this point in time, but they're going to expand their services as well. And then the other thing is as if the need grows, we do have other sites that will come online. And then look, because we may be putting a call out to help manage some of those sites. So in terms of volunteers, we may be reaching out to you. Okay. Emergency food resources for kids. We have Grab and Go at this point too. Clayton Valley High School, Monday through Friday from basically 10 to 12:30. Grab and Go lunches. Also Mount Diablo Unified, Monday through Friday, 11 to 12:30. They're doing Grab and Go lunches as well at Cambridge Elementary, Meadow Homes, El Dorado Middle, Mount Diablo High School, and Ignatia Valley High School. Okay. So that is kind of the big updates at this point in time. And I will definitely go ahead and open up. If you want to unmute your phones, that's totally fine. If you have any questions you want to go ahead and ask at this point, please go ahead and do so. And I'm going to just kind of read through some of the comments and see. Actually, really quickly, we do have Kevin Cabral and Melissa Ray from the Concord Chamber of Commerce on the call. Kevin and Melissa, do you guys want to go ahead and do you have anything else you guys want to add, or any other comments?
I would say all the stuff we've been talking about this week, Tim, you've done a great job on covering it. And if people need additional information, definitely Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, those are getting updated constantly. And then if you have information on a business and you don't feel like you're getting support, please contact the chamber. We're here for all businesses, not just chamber businesses. So we'll share any information we have. And please just look to us for a resource on kind of what businesses are doing and kind of how we're moving forward and keeping people aware of what's available, who's open, and how they're doing it. And by all means, we're hoping that everybody stays safe during this time too. So we're just working through it. So I appreciate that, Tim.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. And like I said, I can't thank the chamber enough. They've done a fantastic job of trying to get the word out as well, in partnership with Visit Concord. So if you haven't had a chance to visit those resources, and also check back on my own Facebook page. I'm trying to kind of keep everybody up to date as best as possible. Facebook is going to be kind of the main media, and I'll try to push stuff out on Instagram on occasion, and Twitter, but realistically Facebook, it ends up being kind of the main medium that we'll be pushing stuff out on. Some questions are coming up to receive food. What will people need to do? So in terms of the individual centers, I'm hearing that the standard requirements that used to be required at Monument Crisis, some of the other places, are not happening at this moment in time. If you have a need, we're going to fill it. In terms of the program for the senior helper and senior food program, same thing. If you have a need, the goal is to fill it as best as we possibly can. The program is for City of Concord residents only at this moment in time. But again, as we continue to expand it, we'll let you know as we try to expand it to our neighboring cities. I'm hearing mixed comments on outside hiking. Technically, that is not something that is something that is still allowed to do. It's more of a social distancing at this point in time. The goal is hopefully not to have like some large huge group hike, but if you would like to take a walk, you can take a walk. Go take a walk with nature. It's okay. I know we're all a little penned up right now and it's frustrating. All right. Yeah, there have been a number of, now I will say, overall crime-related issues have been low. We really haven't had a lot of things but as also mentioned in comments, we've had a lot of just police complaints like noise. And so, in some cases, just hopefully people are able to just kind of sit back, relax, enjoy being at home, and try to be mindful. Most people aren't used to being at home in the middle of an afternoon on a Wednesday, not necessarily doing anything. So just try to be mindful of your neighbor if you can. That's kind of the best practice. Let's see here. There's reports of news concerning law enforcement, military control of quarantine on this, and how can Concord enforcing quarantine. So in terms of quarantine at this point, we haven't moved to anything further than where we are at this moment in time. We do know that there is, I believe it is Kevin, you mentioned, we just got reports, National Guard is going to be assisting with the food bank at this point in time. But in terms of the police department's done a good job about kind of modifying their schedule, just kind of making sure that things are being covered the way they need to be covered at this point in time. Let's see. Question. Let's see. Would you mind repeating the question? Well, some people might not be seeing the chat. Yes. With the food distribution, how do you keep people a safe distance away from when they line up? Those are things that, again, everyone's going to try to do their best to make sure that we've got proper distances. I know everybody collectively, whether you're at Monument Crisis or in some of the other settings, people are trying to do their best to be smart about it. Let's see here. Is there any business that provides services that don't interact with the public, such as picking up real estate? So in terms of waivers for those type of things, unfortunately, we're just trying to go by the governor's orders at this point in time. We as a city don't get the ability to kind of set who's essential and who's non-essential at this point in time. So unfortunately, we don't have the latitude to kind of give you the dispensation to go or no go. Realistically, and I apologize, I probably should have shared this phone number with you. Give me 2 seconds. There is a phone number here. Let me put it in the chat. It is 844-729-8410. That is the county number specifically. That is that's their question and answer line. They've got over 300 people that are supposed to be staffing that at this time. So if there are questions you have about what's going on, including essential or non-essential businesses, that of course is probably one of the biggest things that keep coming up that everyone's trying to understand. Okay. You may have sent, oh, you're right. Thank you. I did send that. Okay, let's try that again. 844-729-8410. Okay. So lastly, what we're gonna, a question came in, how do we sign up to volunteer? So if you, like we said here, I'm gonna back up in terms of slides to this page specifically. NeighborExpress.org is what we're using as our kind of volunteer network. Now, oh, thank you. So NeighborExpress.org is where we are, you know what, that said, that went to everyone. Okay, good. So if you go to NeighborExpress.org to sign up to volunteer, what'll happen is if you do have other things that you may want to be involved in or volunteer for, that's fine. There's kind of an area to free form in that area to fill out. If there is another service or something else that you may be interested in doing, it's also okay to reach out to me. Please don't hesitate to give me a call. But like I said, though, if you can, please use the website. We do have one person that's probably getting a few phone calls at the moment. She's probably, trying to figure out maybe what's going on. But if you can, please use the NeighborExpress.org website. And again, this has not been posted online yet. So this is all of these things will be posted online, Facebook, and all the different social media outlets, and we'll make sure that this gets out to everybody here by around noontime, end of the day at this point, to let everybody know what's going on. But if you can use, let's see, is there anywhere the city can enforce all grocery stores to allow an hour early to shop for seniors and immune compromised? So I covered that earlier, and so let me go back to that slide. Here is what's going on with the different stores that are offering special hours. If it is a situation where it's an immune compromised individual, that is, in a lot of cases, I don't believe they're necessarily kind of running people out. So I would go ahead and have that conversation with the store specifically. It's come up a few times. If for some reason it becomes an issue, let us know. We can try to get that solved as well. And like I said, at this point too, if anybody wants to actually speak, you can definitely unmute your mic. I don't have, we don't have it set in a way. So may I see your first slide once more? Do you know if the stores are waiving the delivery fee? You know, I'm not sure on that question, Colleen. I know that some restaurants are waiving delivery fees, but I don't know if the stores are waiving the delivery fees at this point in time. I don't know if anybody has information around that specifically, but what? Oh, yeah, I see your first slide once more. Which slide are we talking about, Pam? I'm sorry. You said there was a which, Pam, what was which slide did you want to see? No? Okay.
Hey there. Costco's open Tuesday and Thursday for seniors between 8 and 9 a.m.
Okay.
You had it not on your slide, but they are.
Oh,
I can
good.
send you a picture if you want.
No,
I took
that's
a
awesome.
picture.
You know, and we didn't have that updated yet. So Melissa will go ahead and write that down, and we'll update the graphic. And we'll send out a new graphic later.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for that information. And if there's anything else, like I said, Sam's Club, Grocery Outlet, anybody gets any other information that they want to share, please go ahead and shoot it over to me. Would love to make sure we share that information. So, okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
My name's Leora. Is it possible we could start getting a breakdown of the number of cases by city instead of just overall Contra Costa County? Maybe I just haven't seen that, but when I check the Contra Costa County site, it's only the county. And when I first called, they said, well, at first it was just a patient privacy issue, but that's when there was one case.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just like to know, you know, Contra Costa County is so huge, it would be nice to kind of know where the cases are evolving.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'll check on that. There's been a question that's come up within the last day or two. So I'll check to kind of see what the plan is on delivering that information.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
And I have two more kind of.
Yeah, no, go for it. Keep going.
Did you want to finish the answer to that? Was there more?
No, there wasn't. No, that's just something that we'll go ahead and we'll see. Again, I don't know if initially it was more of a privacy issue, but you're right now that it maybe has become a larger spread, and if there are certain pockets that we should be even more concerned with, yeah, you're right. So.
Yeah, I mean, when I have to make a run to the pharmacy or something, it would be nice to know if there were 25 cases in Clayton area, or you know, 0, or if they're all in Martinez or what. So.
Yep.
Not that really should change the caution that we take, but my other kind of comments is about masks and testing, and just to inform everyone, like they are now saying, even though everyone's trying to get more tests out, that since they're not out, to like please don't actually try to get them. And I mean, I just read some articles saying, you know, they need them just for emergency and doctors and nurses and all that, but
correct.
I don't know if you had comment on that. And then
no, I absolutely do. It's you know, and we had an opportunity even at our city council meeting. We had one of the the deputy. Oh goodness, I'm drawing a blank on his name. It's like the deputy health chief for the county, and he did a good job about trying to explain the fact that, you know, masks are for the sick people, not necessarily for the healthy people at this point in time. And then on top of that,
it was about tests.
The testing piece. Hold on. The testing piece too, again, if you're not symptomatic, the goal is to not kind of run down and try to get tested just because. So, I mean, like you said, the goal is, hey, if you're just being smart, if you don't feel symptomatic, everything is fine, you know, the goal is just to kind of pull back. I mean, if you need to see your doctor, if something's going on, but that's the advice they're kind of giving us at this time is, again, don't make a run on the doctor's offices. It's not something that is actually in everybody's best interest at this point in time. So just try to practice kind of good hygiene, wash hands, paying attention, stay home, and that will actually, actually be better for us all the way around.
Right, thank you. And I noticed someone just put up the tracking website. I've been following those, but at this point they're not going to be accurate, just so everyone knows, because just because of the testing issue. I
Mhm.
mean, they're still somewhat, a way to see what's going on, but they're not going to be really telling us the true nature of what's going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? I think there was definitely. Go ahead and just unmute and ask. That's fine.
It's me, Benu Chabra.
Hi, Benu.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
Did you receive my letter about family childcare providers?
We did, and actually, by the way, hey Kevin, we need to chat with Benu on Monday about childcare. Actually, one of our initiatives, I'm going to call it Kevin's Kids. I had to call you out. I love it.
I love it.
One of the initiatives that we're actively trying to get worked on as we speak is trying to make sure that proper childcare is happening around the area, especially for those that are those parents that are part of the central services community at this moment in time. But Ben, I know that you were somebody that has good connections within the childcare community, and
Yes,
we were definitely talking about trying to make sure that we've got all those connections, and even possibly go as far as trying to establish some additional childcare locally in each individual neighborhood in order to help some of those families during this time for those people that work in these central services. So, Ben, we definitely are going to chat, like I said, with Kevin and Melissa. We want to really try to set up a program and get something squared away with that.
I just want to just say one more thing, that we are, like I mentioned, really running out of supplies, and we really need those disinfecting sanitizer and other stuff, sir. I drove myself this morning at Sam's Club. There were already 250 people. And just wanted to tell you that how we work more than 12 hours a day. By the time we get to the store, the supplies are wiped out. So could you please just help us in this way, sir? Thank you.
And that's a good point. So that's definitely something that if we can do that, that is, again, one more of the projects that we've been talking about trying to get rolled out this next week, is to help kind of support that network, because that's something that's going to be huge. So thank you, Benu. You know what, if you don't mind, and I know that we've chatted, can you send me an email right now, just so it's literally at the top of the list, and reach out, just so that we can make sure we connect with the chamber folks come Monday, and let's get that figured out. Let me send you.
I'm talking
Kevin,
to some folks. Yeah, I'm talking to some folks at Cocoa Kids on Monday. We did identify this is kind of, we feel our group that's meeting is the next big thing, and we need to be on top of it. Not sure what the resources are going to be or what we're going to be able to do to assist. But when I was on the SBA talk, there was a lot of conversation around childcare as being able to stay in business and the need moving into the future. So any information you have, we'd like to compile it. We can start sharing. We can start asking for volunteers, all the stuff above. But we're taking a dive into it Monday. That's already in the plan.
I just wanted to mention one thing, sir. I think what happens is in our fields, there's lack of recognition, and we are essential workers. So I appreciate all your help.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Benny. We appreciate it. Actually, and I'm so glad that you were on the call today, because again, that was one more component initiative that is on. You kind of got a whiteboard at this point of all the working items that we're trying to make through, and it is on there that we've identified this week. So thank you for that, and we'll actually connect later. We'd like you to be a part of that working group.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Tim, it's John Habercorn.
Hey, John.
The number one, as I walk around the little neighborhood here, I talk to people with a social distance. The number one problem I'm hearing from the seniors is they're afraid to go to the store. Now, in some cases, they have children or friends who can take those trips. In other cases, they don't have anyone. So what I'm reading on the Helping Hands website, and some of them are tech literate, others are not. because I've told them they can do online delivery.
Yep.
But Helping Hands will help the people who are not tech literate, and they will take grocery lists over the phone and then arrange for delivery to their front porch.
So yes, so the goal
Okay.
is, yeah, and so for those that are, of course, not tech literate, that's why we put the phone number there.
Yeah.
To kind of call in. But like I mentioned to everybody that's on the call, if you can help actually assist, and I'm actually even looking for another volunteer or two that would like to help volunteer for me in inputting and in kind of an intake. I'm actually looking for some volunteer intake people to be able to help get people connected with the service. But they will do that. They'll go ahead and Meals on Wheels is our back end folks that will kind of connect everybody to make sure, hey, I need this, this, and this, and they'll make sure they have what they need. So if you can volunteer, would like to help me volunteer on the intake side of things, here's my email address. If you don't mind sending me an email.
I have your email address. Yeah.
Okay. But everybody else, if anybody else is on the call.
Oh, if anyone else, yeah.
Yeah. If anybody else on the call would like to help, it's something that luckily all you need is a computer. And then we have a phone number that what we'll do is we'll connect your cell phone to it, and you can kind of take the incoming calls during the day. So any help we can have would be fantastic in that area. So please send me an email just so we can connect folks to these services.
Tim, I had another question.
Sure.
I assume the Pavilion and Todos Santos, no events through May?
Well, realistically, it's not just no events through May. It'll probably end up, it's going to be longer than that.
Okay.
I mean, I'll even go as far as some of the major events that are scheduled even through July and August are probably not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens, just because there's a little bit of a lead time to a lot of this stuff that may not actually be able to happen. So we're trying to do our best to kind of take stuff day by day.
Has any decision been made about June?
About June?
Yeah, events in June.
At this point, everything's been put on hold, including events even as far as June. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tim.
Sure. And thank you for Jessica for putting my email in the chat. It's up here as well. And then also just a reminder, it's not just myself, of course, doing this. Vice Mayor Aliano is actively involved. He's actually been helping me roll out the number of these food programs. And we are looking at, there are going to potentially be some other phases. So for some of you that are members of some of the different Catholic churches in the area, there will definitely be some more conversations being had about those sites as it relates to potentially the future as well. So, but please reach out to your individual council members, Councilmember Son, Councilmember Hoffmeister, Councilmember Obringer. All of us are trying to work very hard to make sure that everybody has what they need, or we're trying to connect resources and community. And so hopefully, collectively we can try to all roll up that information. And the goal is not to miss anybody. There's a number of different organizations that are all trying to kind of work in harmony on a lot of these things. And so like I've had to reach out to them this week, and some people are, trying to figure out, well, how come you didn't reach out to me? And it's like, well, the goal is, at this point, I'm telling everybody, if you have a question or you're trying to find resource or connect resource, I'm telling people, go through me at this point in time. I'm trying to work as the hub for a lot of our nonprofits and our essential services, for the sake of making sure people are connected. So I've kind of taken over that role at this point of making sure that everybody is connected, so that everybody kind of knows and working in harmony, so that we don't have silos of people working around the city at different, in different manners. Let's see. I know this may be premature, but any chance of public utility services being impacted by this in the future? The answer is no, because of course that is something that is essential. There are no issues with garbage service at this time. By the way, I mean, God love everybody that's going out and buying water, but the water system will still continue to work. Your tap will still run. The city is an essential service, so when you flush your toilet, we'll still make sure that that works. And so all those pieces will still be actively working at this point in time. Where Possibility list of city needs, services, volunteer. Okay, so will there be a list of city needs, services, and volunteer opportunities so we can share with our social media following? At this point in time, our kind of place to go for all that is going to be Neighbor Express, and then the goal is, I'm sorry, neighborexpress.org. Don't want to forget that last piece, neighborexpress.org. And then as needs arise and other things come online, we're going to continue to use that resource to kind of be our hub again for a lot of different things. Okay.
Hey, Tim, this is Ajit.
Hey, Jeet.
How are you?
I'm good.
I have two things to say, because now almost all of the streets and roads are emptied, and which is that everyone is doing a great job. But my suggestion is last 3 or 4 days, I have not seen any our police or anything is driving by, and probably because some cities they have the incident for grabbing the purse and all that stuff from the people who walking or anything like that. So for that, I think so we need to have some police patrolling around, just not much, but at least appearance in the streets. That'll be more helpful for the safety.
Yeah.
And then
So,
number two, I just want to say, I'm the small business owner. I have the spices and all that daily needs use. So we are open 1 to 7 every day. If somebody need any help, so please give me a call, 510-455-6278.
hey, where are you? Hey, Jeet, by the way, where are you located?
1859 Adobe Street.
And what do you specialize in selling again?
I have all spices and the food items, basically rice and flours and everything else, you name it, for daily use for our cooking.
Okay. So alternative grocery stores for those who are maybe not necessarily trying to only access Safeway. There's a number of other great markets out there like Ajit's. He's located downtown, so think about stopping by.
I'm sorry, can you repeat those hours again?
Ajit, what are your hours again?
Every day.
Ajit, what's the name of your store is what?
The Bombay Trading Company.
And your store hours are what? Every day from when?
1 to 7, we reduce the hours. Basically,
Okay.
12 to 8 is the regular hours, but 1 to 7 for sure we are there.
Great,
Perfect.
thank you.
Thank you so much, Ajit. All right.
Just,
Let's see.
had to make
How
that-
can we? Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have? Oh, let me answer really quickly in terms of the police services piece. So our police services, what we've done is we've changed the way that we are working through our different teams for police services at this point in time. So while you might not see your normal police officer that would normally drive by your store or your neighborhood, we've gone to kind of a completely different modified schedule, beat, and districts throughout the entire city because of what's going on right now. So it's one of those, everyone's there, it's just they're not where you normally see them because of how we've had to deploy resources across the city.
Yeah, that's perfectly okay as long as everyone is aware of it. That's what I.
Yeah, it's just you're not gonna see them in maybe the normal rotation that you'd see them, the way people are spread out. We had another question. How can we find elderly that are in need of food? Hold on, where'd it go? We're in need of food but not registered anywhere, feeling worried about them. So I would say, I mean, that's one of those situations to where hopefully, do you know your neighbor? Have you had an opportunity to just check in on them potentially? And then the goal is that that's where this kind of neighborexpress.org can fall into play, because what's that? Oh, because we are working with Meals on Wheels. We are working with, we have the ability to partner with other nonprofits if we really need to, depending on what the need is. And so use neighborexpress.org. But again, that's going to be something where, you're gonna have to hopefully kind of reach out to your neighbor if you can. Okay. And I know a number of questions are coming in too, so if you don't mind actually asking them, that's helpful.
Hey Tim, is it okay to be out and about, like in our local parks, just for the sake of trying to get supplies to some of our homeless residents?
Well, I'm sorry. Say that one more time, Dave. About
like,
out and about in our parks.
Yesterday, for example, I went down to Baldwin Park and saw a gentleman, noticeably homeless, and offered some supplies. And just like walking down there, past a few police officers who kind of looked at. I don't know. I just wasn't really sure if that was an okay thing to do if you live nearby a park to check for homeless folks and see if you can offer some kind of assistance. Is that something the city encourages or discourages?
So again, it's okay to, if you want to access the parks, that's fine. In terms of, you're kind of asking in terms of specifically like bringing supplies to people.
Yes.
Is that kind of, I mean, that's one of those that, let's be honest, the right answer is everybody's trying to be really careful right now, even as it has to apply to our homeless population. So we're trying to be careful because we also don't want some type of transmission as we're bringing supplies to our homeless population to then devastate a homeless camp. Sure, so you know what I mean? So that's the piece that it's a fine line that we really have to be careful about. I know that the county and our core services teams are really trying hard to, number one, try to get people into shelter. But if they aren't willing to get into shelter, the goal also is to just try to get them to kind of hunker down, stay in place, and not necessarily, kind of move around either, just so that things don't spread and we don't continue to have more problems. So it tends to be a little touchy. I can't give you like a straight answer on that, Dave, but
that's good. So like everything else,
judgment
and just be smart about it.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Another question? Let's see here. Okay. Okay, so Gabriella, what resources help with essential items that are alone and don't know anyone that can help? Accessing items can disable persons access. As I hear, there aren't any services mentioned for disabled in our community. So that's one of those right now. You're right. We don't necessarily have that piece pinned down. So let me go ahead and kind of write that down and try to figure out how we want to handle that piece. Again, whether that's the helping hand component that can be folded into the larger program that we're talking about right now. That's a very, very good possibility. Or work with maybe a nonprofit that can kind of take point on that piece specifically as it deals with some of the disabled in our community. So no, good suggestion. I'll get back to you guys on that. Okay. Any other questions? Blood and platelet donations are still in need and are considered essential. You are absolutely correct. We do need people to still continue to donate blood. Red Cross. So redcrossblood.org. It's in the chat here. Please think about that. Let's see. Are there restricted hours for hardware stores, Lowe's, Home Depot? You know what? I'm not sure about that. We have not looked into restricted hours for those store types. Yeah, but we can definitely check with them. We'll have the chamber check in on who is.
Their store hours seem to be business as normal.
Is it? Okay.
Yep, I'll double check. That could change every day, as we all know. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Breakdown numbers by cases by city. Just put in writing the question I asked. Has the cchealth.org website breakdown numbers of cases by city? Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Well, and you definitely, like I said, unmute your phones if you have any questions. Don't hesitate to ask.
I have a question about, I've been hearing different things with dates on the, lockdown kind of thing, or the shelter in place.
Yep.
So I just want to know, like, I know that it changes by day, but I am also part of the Association for Family Child Care. And so I do have essential workers that work in hospitals. And so I just, I know it's unknown, but I just would like to, if you have like dates right now. I know that just listening to the news, some people say April 7th, April 13th, 14th. I mean, it's really unknown, but I just kind of want to have an idea, is the first question. And then the second one, I've been hearing that there may be like a full lockdown. Is that at all in place? Do you have any idea about that?
So in terms of the whole full lockdown piece, I think it seems, and I'm just going to throw this out there and anybody else want to jump in on this, but it seems like there's a little bit of a misconception around the full lockdown because while Contra Costa already kind of went on essentially full lockdown, we're technically on pretty restrictive space at this point. The rest of the state now followed suit. So I'm not sure if some people are kind of mixed messaging that because what the governor ordered, 2 days ago now on Thursday, was essentially what Contra Costa was already under. It didn't get any more restrictive. So that could be kind of where the misconceptions kind of coming in a little bit. But in terms of the date, so of course it was initially April 7th. However, then kind of bringing that forward, the other piece is that the governor has kind of said, has until a date certain. We don't know what the date is at this point. So we're all trying to kind of figure that piece out.
Okay, so but the essential workers can still do their thing, and
Yes.
we as family child cares, we are continue to be open.
Yes, absolutely.
And we're in that safe mode kind of thing, and we're taking all the measures that we need to take in regards to that. Thank you.
That is correct. And actually, we had a conversation earlier with Benu about trying to make sure that we support the childcare services, or even if need be, expand it slightly as well, just to make sure that those who do work in essential services have the ability to have childcare for their children.
Yes, I am the secretary on the same board that she is the president.
Perfect. So if that's the case, hopefully we can link you in to this as well and help us kind of work together on that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Yeah. Go for it.
Hi, everybody. This is Michelle. I wanted to just say something about the CCHS website and the number of cases that they're posting there. I think, Leora, that was the question that you had, whether they can break it down by city or not. I don't know that they're going to break it down by city, but what we need to do is make sure that we all just continue to follow precautions, because that's the best way to take care of everything, is act like it's already here and just protect ourselves and do the social distancing. Don't leave the house if you don't need to. Continue to wash your hands and sanitize the surfaces that are commonly touched in your house. So whether or not we're able to tell where it is by city or not, that may, incite more disruption if people are overly concerned about breaking it down too specifically. We just need to continue to move forward like we're taking the most caution we can.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for comments. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Michelle, for that comment as well. The goal is just to try to just be careful. Let's see. And that's true too. That the goal, if we did a city breakdown, it potentially could give us a false sense of kind of security, or a heightened sense of fear. So that's something that we definitely have to be careful of. Okay. Any other questions? Anything else that you've been hearing out there, or anything else I should be aware of, or my chamber team that's on the call?
I have just a comment on the full lockdown, quote, full lockdown.
Sure.
This is a little broader than just city. I mean, it's very clear where we're at right now that we could go outside and walk in the park and go shopping. I think people, when they ask that question, they're concerned about if it's going to go to a place of like where we can't leave, which is unimaginable, yet that's what is actually happening in Spain and Italy. Like, my friend who lives at the beach in Spain can't walk on the beach. It's patrolled. And we're not there yet in this country. And we're definitely not there yet in this county. But there's kind of a difference between what that quote full lockdown compared to the stay-at-home orders is a very different definition there. And what I'm advising friends in other states who have not yet been on stay-at-home orders is that they really should be, even though the federal government has not made it a federal mandate like California has and other states. It's really wise for everyone at this point because it is in all the states and it is spreading everywhere. So I'm just trying to send articles and help educate my friends who are in some states, like Oklahoma or places where it's like they only have way less cases and they're not really been told to stay at home yet. But that's still, we're not under quote full lockdown in the way that Spain and Italy are. And I think that's where some people are starting to question if we might end up there. I guess anything's possible, but we're not there.
No, that's a really good comment, honestly, because the one thing, and I've had a number of even reporters ask this, they're kind of trying to figure out, do you support what's going on? How do you feel the county and the state's been working through all of this? And I kind of actually feel like we've been fortunate that, number one, our state took it seriously, our counties took it seriously. The counties, as a 6 Bay Area county, 9 Bay Area counties, decided to take a regional approach to this very quickly and really try to get out ahead of this. And so that part is helpful to where hopefully it maybe doesn't have to come to the severe lockdown that, like you said, Spain and Italy and some of those other places are seeing. And if we can kind of be smart about trying to get it controlled and handle on it. But yeah, it's kind of, it can be unnerving, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, what you just said is really perfect. That we did get out a little ahead of the curve, hopefully. And I'm just really encouraging everyone to reach out to friends in other states and start making sure they know why and get ahead of the curve, even if your governor hasn't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, luckily we're a few weeks ahead of most, right? And so, and even our county, our county is a full week, if not, 10 days ahead of the rest of the state. So hopefully that's to our advantage.
Yep. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody kind of asking questions and putting comments in here. Any other questions? Please don't hesitate to ask. We got plenty of time to make sure that we go through things. And of course, like we said, as we go along and you have questions or you're trying to kind of maybe find information or just even connect people, don't hesitate to send me an email or one of your other council members. And we'll do our best to be able to just make sure you've got the resources you need. If there's anything else you're looking for, just let us know. We're trying to kind of push the message out as best as we can and as clear and concise as we can so that everybody kind of knows what's going on and keep it simple.
I had a question about volunteering at the schools. I know that
Yeah.
they're giving out lunches at select locations, and I had reached out to the schools personally to see if I could kind of show up and help create those lunch packets and distribute them, but I hadn't heard back from anybody. Do you have any inside knowledge as to where I could report and help at the schools?
You know what, on that, I actually go ahead and send me an email on that, because if it's not connecting with maybe Mount Diablo Unified, because their staff are the ones that are working there, the one area that you may be able to connect is Clayton Valley may be looking for volunteers. And then if not, the other one is, because we're going to be getting things going at the Mount Diablo Central Kitchen, we may need people to help on that side too. So if it's not helping necessarily cook, it might also be just helping making sure we've got packages ready to go to be sent out for delivery too. And that's going to be happening at the Mount Diablo Central Kitchen as well.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Great. Thank
So
you.
yeah, definitely shoot me an email on that. That's something that could be helpful.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
So I see a question about just kind of Mount Diablo or maybe Mount Diablo Unified. I can't really comment too much on what's going on there. That, you know, all the schools are trying to kind of have their own learning track in a lot of cases. So it's tough to say in that regards. And then we have another question. I think I missed the answer on where the quarantine not homeless will be housed in the hospital's overflow. Okay. So as it relates to homeless, the one area that was being used is the fairgrounds in Antioch. I'm just kind of giving you both sides. Not homeless in a lot of cases. Luckily, the hospitals aren't at overflow. They're not at capacity. Actually, in a lot of cases, the hospital has done a good job about completely scaling back. So there's no elective surgeries happening right now. And the hospital's been actually trying to clear out patients as we speak, so that if and when there is a need, but then they will be ready. But luckily, at this moment in time, the hospitals are not experiencing a huge influx of people for the sake of actually physically staying in the hospitals under quarantine. Got it. All right, everybody. Well, hey, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. Thank you so much. Again, you've got my email address. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And thank you for those who threw out some good ideas as well.
Thank you for your time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
All right. We'll catch up with you soon. Hopefully we do this again next week.
Good job, Tim. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.